These 10 musicians spent time in jail. Number 10. Lil Wayne. According to a report, Lil Wayne has been charged with one count of having a firearm and ammunition in his possession while a convicted felon by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. Wayne, who spent a year on Rikers Island for attempting to use a weapon illegally, may spend up to 10 years in jail if found guilty. The allegations are related to a search that took place on Wayne's private plane at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport in December 2007. Before officials discovered narcotics and weapons on the aircraft, it was en route to California. It is not claimed that he is a dangerous man. The accusation is that he is not allowed to own a gun since he has previously been convicted of a felony. Wayne was freed on November 4, 2010, after serving 8 months of his one-year term in Rikers, due to narcotics allegations from an event in Arizona where a K-9 unit found nearly 3 ounces of marijuana, an ounce of cocaine, 41 grams of ecstasy, and $22,000 in cash. He was sentenced to an additional 36 months of probation while completing his sentence. We have made a full video on the luxurious life of Lil Wayne. Click on the I button above to watch more. Number 9. Lindsay Lohan. The well-known actress and pop icon was frequently detained. The source claims that she was detained for driving while intoxicated. According to sources, Lindsay Lohan was detained in July 2007 for both a felony drug possession charge and a misdemeanor DUI. After Lindsay's ankle-led awards, a court issued a new bench warrant for her arrest in June 2010 along with a $200,000 bond. She was given a 90-day prison sentence and 90-day rehab sentence in July of the same year for skipping counseling appointments that the court had imposed. In February 2011, Lindsay Lohan was accused of stealing a necklace that was reported missing from a jewelry store. She pleaded no contest to unlawful stealing and violating her rehab probation, for which she received a community service sentence and a 120-day jail sentence. Number 8. Lil Kim. Rapper Lil Kim, real name Kimberly Jones, has served 1 prison sentence. She was given a 1-year, 1-day prison sentence in 2006, combined with a huge fine of $50,000. Regarding a shootout in 2001, she was found guilty on 3 charges of self-incrimination and 1 count of conspiracy to commit self-incrimination. Lil Kim and friends at a competing rap group got into a firefight over insults written in the lyrics. According to reports, Lil Kim was attempting to keep friends out of jail. "I can tell you this is by far the toughest thing I have ever had to go through," Lil Kim stated after receiving her sentence. "I gave a fabricated statement before the grand jury and the court. I thought that was the correct thing to do at the time, but looking back, I was mistaken." She might have served up to 20 years, but only got a little over 1 because of her fame. Number 7. 50 Cent. In 1994, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, who was then one of hip-hop's top executives, was detained on a charge of direct sale of a prohibited drug after selling 4 vials of crack cocaine to an undercover police officer. He was detained once more a few weeks later after police raided his house and discovered heroin, 10 ounces of crack cocaine, and a starter gun. 50 Cent was given a sentence of 3 to 9 years in jail, but chose to participate in the SHOCK program, a boot camp-like diversion program for first-time, non-violent offenders because of the non-violent nature of the crime. Number 6. Tupac. Rapper Tupac Shakur was given a sentence of 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison in 1993 for abusing a fan sexually, and he publicly apologized to the victim. On December 1, Mr. Shakur and his road manager Charles Fuller were found guilty of first-degree sexual abuse but freed on charges of sodomy and possession of weapons. Before being considered for parole on the sex abuse charge, Mr. Shakur had to complete 18 months in prison. Since 1993, he has been detained 6 times, with charges eventually being dropped in cases involving everything from an attack to a firefight. Number 5. G.G. Allin. G.G. Allin is the most gruesome and disgusting musician on this list. After torturing a fan he met at one of his shows in Detroit in 1989, the outlaw was charged with assault. He burned her with cigarettes, cut half-moon shapes on the bottom of her breasts with the sharp edge of a beer can, and had intercourse with her while she was tied to a bed over the course of several days. According to his statement, it was a mutual act of outsider lovemaking. But the jury of Michigan disagreed and sent the frontman of the band Murder Junkies to prison in Washtenaw County for an extended vacation. Number 4. Chuck Berry. Berry was detained in 1959 for transporting Janice Escalante, then 14 years old, across state lines for immoral activities. Berry ultimately spent 2 years in prison for this offense. But some could argue that because of the nearly 60 years that have passed, morality has changed. Given that it occurred in the not-too-far-off year of 1989, it is more difficult to dismiss the subsequent accusation that he had installed a video camera in the women's restroom of his Missouri restaurant. Berry was given a suspended sentence and agreed to settle a class action lawsuit with 59 women after videos from this camera were discovered in his house. Number 3. Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter, a former pop artist, was sentenced to a total of 16 years in prison for sexually assaulting 3 young children between 1975 and 1980. Glitter, whose real name is Paul Gadd, was found guilty on 1 count of having intercourse with a girl under 13 and 4 counts of indecent assault. Judge Alistair McCreath stated during sentencing that there was no meaningful indication that Gadd had made amends for his acts. Judge McCreath told Gadd that it was evident his abuse of his victims had a deep impact on all of them. Number 2. Big Lurch. Rapper Big Lurch, real name Antron Singleton, is currently serving a life sentence after killing and eating parts of his 21-year-old female acquaintance, Tanisha Isais, in April 2002 while under the influence of PCP. Elisa Allen, a friend of the victim, spotted the victim at her apartment. A 3-inch blade was discovered broken off in her shoulder blade and her chest had been torn open. Her face and lungs, which had been ripped from her chest, bore teeth marks. Lurch received a life sentence on November 7, 2003. Number 1. R. Kelly. R&B singer R. Kelly was given a 30-year prison term for using his fame to expose young followers, some of whom were still children, to repeated sexual assault. During a trial last year, the 55-year-old singer and composer was found guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, giving voice to accusers who had previously questioned whether their cases were being overlooked just because they were black women. On September 27, 2021, U.S. District Judge Ann Donnelly handed down the sentence following testimony from multiple survivors who described the impact Kelly's exploitation had on their lives.